What's going on, guys? It's CJ aka Daryl aka Gorax aka Borlock. That is getting long. I might have to cut that down. Today's subject that I want to talk about is quest, but what quest is actually missing. So Swordcraft run the week-long events out in the middle of different locations, and it's an immersive event that sort of gets put on and we make it our own. So that's how they sort of run it. They sort of just let us come into a property and they do certain things like the tavern, they might have guilds set up, things like that. But for the most part, the community is what makes Quest good. So you've got a lot of people complaining at the moment that the price is too high for what is offered. And I tend to agree to a certain degree. I think there's more costs to running it than what people will see on the surface level. There's a lot behind the scenes that they need to worry about with medics, things like that. I'm not going to get into it, whether or not I think it's 100% worth your money, but I feel like there's more that they could do, and this video is going to address some of the things that I hope in future they will put on sort of without the community having to do it themselves, or if they ask the community to help them bring it out. So point number one is fear. A big thing for me at quests is knowing that if I go out, I could get killed at any point. But the last few quests I've felt indestructible. If I want to go from camp to camp to camp, it's easy. I just walk. I would like to have that fear back. So whether or not it's the orcs or the bandits or an undead warband, anything, just someone with that sort of evil sort of background to sort of just be roaming around and taking people off the roads, kidnapping them, torturing them, beating them, robbing them, whatever you want to do. Just put the fear of travel back into the game. A few quests ago, I've spoken about it in previous videos, the goats and me decided that we wanted to go out as highwaymen and just rob anyone that we saw on the roads, and we did that, and people started to actually bring out guards when they went walking. They started to worry about going out on road alone, so it became something that you feared. So if you want to keep your coin, the best thing to do is to go out in groups, and we weren't going to attack big groups because it just wasn't logical. So that was a big part of the quests from maybe 3 years ago. Lately it's just been an easy walk. I'm happy to go by myself anywhere I want to go. No one hassles me. The worst that I might get is someone trying to get me to join a guild for bearded men or something. The second point that I want to bring up is random immersion. I can't describe it any better way than that, but what I mean is, well, this will be a better description, I guess, but what I mean is just things in the world. So Swordcraft, I think, as I'm going to say, a company needs to start putting on things that are brought by them, not by the community. So when it comes to walking around in the forest randomly, I would like to come across a small, even just a stone structure with a glowing orb on top, or something weird that you can just stumble across, and it's got like a note in it that says, oh, if you touch this orb or remove this orb, you get cursed and you'll die in 5 hours unless you find a witch, something like that. So something that sort of brings you into the game and goes, oh crap, now I've got this curse. And if you're a serious role player and you pick it up, you're not going to read that note and go, nah, I don't want to do that. You're gonna role play it, and I think that's what Swordcraft's lacking at the moment is world events, I guess you could call them. So whether or not it's they get people to NPC as highwaymen, they get people to NPC as damsels in distress, getting chased by bandits, things like that. Just stuff that you can come across in the world that is completely brought by the company of Swordcraft. And I think that's a big step forward, is to have things out there, even small temples made out of small little plywood walls, just something painted up to look like a temple where inside there's bags of money, but there's traps, things like that. So I think if they were able to pull that off and bring something like that into the game, they would definitely get a lot more people excited about Quest, and it would justify the $170 odd or whatever you have to spend for a ticket, which at this stage in my life, not doable, so I'm not going to this quest. Another thing that I think that Swordcraft is missing is rituals. If we had sort of rituals, maybe every 3 months, well, every 3 quests, sorry, where they put on a festival sort of ritual thing where it's to summon a monster or something like that, and you have to stop the ritual, but you don't know when it's going to happen or where it's going to happen, but there needs to be a certain amount of people involved in summoning this demon or something like that. I think that will bring the community into it a lot more as well, and again justify that price of ticket. So if they were to just have, say, 20-25 people out in the forest, and they're doing a ritual where they've all got torches, there's a fire in the middle, and they're summoning a demon, they put those green fire crystals in there so it looks really cool. Something like that to sort of stumble across in the real world, but also just the idea of having rituals outside of warbands doing it themselves, I think is something interesting that Swordcraft could definitely look into, and I would love to see at future events. Sorry, I moved the camera and I realised I've got to shoot this bit again. But also, I think town needs to be revamped. Well, when we go out to campsites, mostly, it's sort of 4 stores on one side, 4 stores on the other, that's town. You got pissy little gates at either end, and that's it. Yeah. That needs a lot of work. I understand it's not easy because you're giving charge of the town to certain warbands, but I don't think it should be up to the warband to build town, but to decorate and run town. I think, yeah, you can leave that up to the Imperials or whoever wins it or whatever. I don't even know how it works, I don't really pay attention. But if they can put on a thing where there's gates at either side and there's guards at either side, and then the town is stalls and even just props, so little things like the stockades, hangman's bench thing, they call it, where you hang, all that stuff. Stuff like that would be really interesting to the community. They can sort of go in there, there's photo opportunities, there's sort of just a better vibe when it comes to town. So if you've got things in town that are immersive and are interactable, then you're definitely going to build up that town experience. So usually I avoid town because there's not a lot of point in going there unless I need to buy something from one of the stalls, and that's pretty much the only reason I go to town, unless we're sort of going there to kill a bunch of people, but that's not too often these days. And to kill this video off, death. So the goats have a really good relationship with death. We are often at death, so we've sort of got this communication with death that we're really happy with, but I feel like we need to revamp death. Instead of just having you sign the book and do a small little task, I think we could steal from other LARPs. I don't think anyone's going to care if we have the sort of scary tunnel sort of system that other LARPs have, where as you go through the tunnel, it can be something that they used to do at School Fates. Like School Fates had these, where you have like just little arches and sheets to black out everything, and you just crawl through it and come out the other side. Something like that, but while you're in there, there's like scary sounds and bones on the ground and things like that. So something just makes you feel like you're fighting off death and you're coming out the other side and you're alive. Something like that. Obviously, it would need a fair bit of input and brainstorming, but something like that I think would increase the excitement at Quest. It would give them something that they can go, okay, this is new, this is something that Swordcraft's done. So if they can implement something like that, I think it would definitely make people happy. Because at the moment, when you die, it's not a big deal. Every time I die, I get told, alright, go duel someone for honor. I have 2 or 3 fights and I'm fine. There's no negative effects. So when it comes to negative effects, I would love to see something like you're brought back to life but your left arm is useless. So if you're a sword and shield guy, that's a big disadvantage now because you're just a sword guy. So you strap your arm to your chest and swing away or whatever. But if you've got a negative effect that sort of comes after death for a certain period of time, if you're an honorable person and an honest person, that's going to be a big disadvantage. So I think that's something that I think Swordcraft could definitely implement, is a negative effect after death, and that would definitely be a positive thing for Swordcraft in my opinion. So they're my top 5 or whatever, I don't know, things that I think Swordcraft's missing at quest events. Agree or not, comment below. Send me a message, whatever you want to do, I don't care. Send me a carrier pigeon, sticky tape a note to a pig and send it to my house, whatever, my wife would love that. But yeah, just let me know what you think, any input. The conversation's always got to be open, so if we sort of just go, oh no, you're an idiot, then that's not productive. So make sure that you get the comments in, let me know what you think of the different ideas. And I guess hopefully one day they'll listen and we'll get something different. But I won't be at this quest, as I said, so maybe all of these things will be at quest, who knows. But